She adored Justin. She did. I'm sorry. She absolutely adored Justin. We could show you clip after clip after clip. Obviously, you can read the lawsuit and see the emails. And then, like I said, she got Blakeified, Reynoldsified, and suddenly she's in love with Blake in so much that she's allowing Justin to be treated terribly. That's the way the public is reading this, and they're right to read it that way. Suddenly, Justin files his countersuit, and there's major backlash against her for having supported Blake, but not having said anything about Justin. And really, this happened because of mommy sleuths, right? Like, we pieced together what started to look like sending your young son to school in elementary school, only to discover that there's a bunch of cool kids in the cafeteria that are mocking him and like throwing food at him. You know what I mean? It's like throwing food at him, calling him a loser. And then you find out he's been eating alone in the classroom with the teacher ever since. It's just heartbreaking. And you're going, why? Why is this happening to him? And so the tables turned very quickly against Colleen. People expected her to then now give a more informed answer, a more informed response as to how she could have gone along with what is appearing to be such obvious forms of bullying. And so Colleen deactivated her Instagram on January 21st. And she has now just reemerged, and she's cleaned out her Instagram page. She has, without question, deleted 5 Instagram posts. And the internet is certain that these were all of the Instagram posts of her and Blake Lively. Essentially, not that she's posting of Justin Baldoni, not that she has moved to refollow Justin Baldoni, but it seems like she's taking at least a more neutral stance on Instagram. So how do we know for a fact that she deleted?
What if the flawless images we see of celebrities on magazine covers and dazzling red carpets are nothing more than carefully polished illusions hiding tangled messes of secrets behind closed courtroom doors? That's the chilling question swirling around one of Hollywood's brightest stars, Blake Lively, as she faces off in a high-stakes legal battle with actor-director Justin Baldoni. A case that has ripped open the glossy facade of perfection she has built over years as a beloved actress, devoted mother, and undeniable fashion icon. Because in Tinseltown, the picture-perfect mask only holds up for so long before the cracks begin to show. And today, that polished exterior is being stripped away as fans and critics alike dive into the scandal shaking Hollywood to its core, asking why Lively is so desperate to keep this legal war under wraps and what could be lurking beneath her squeaky clean public image. For while Hollywood has long spread the myth that fame can shield its stars from everything from minor slip-ups to full-blown scandals thanks to armies of publicists and high-profile allies smoothing over rough patches, the courtroom is a merciless arena where none of that matters, where judges don't care about your stylist, your brand deals, or your Instagram-perfect family portrait, and the moment your name is called, the red carpet armor crumbles into dust. Which is precisely the nightmare Lively seems to be staring down, because although she was once dismissed as just another C-lister, she is now a star whose presence turns heads at every premiere, whose charitable causes and couture gowns have reinforced her immaculate reputation, and yet she finds herself entangled in a very public showdown with Baldoni, a name few even recognized before this lawsuit thrust him into the spotlight, and the gossip swirling now suggests her once-iron grip on media portrayal is slipping fast. A collision between a meticulously curated Hollywood narrative and the unrelenting force of legal reality, a brutal reminder that even the biggest stars cannot escape the harsh spotlight of a determined lawyer, and for those watching closely, the tension is only intensifying as this saga unfolds into something far more explosive than a standard civil dispute, something that threatens to shatter everything people think they know about Blake Lively. But even that isn't the full picture, because when celebrities feel cornered, one of their oldest tricks is to push for gag orders, a legal muzzle designed to stop damaging details from reaching the press. And on paper, it seems like a logical move. If you can't help the process itself, at least you can control the narrative. But gag orders are notoriously hard to win, since courts generally reserve them for protecting minors or shielding truly sensitive information, not for silencing adversaries just because their statements sting. And this is where Lively's efforts have allegedly backfired, as whispers suggest she has repeatedly sought gag orders against both Baldoni and his attorney Brian Fredman, citing inflammatory remarks and sensitive material, only to be met with firm rejection from the bench each time, because critics argue that when you drag a fight into the legal system, you don't get to turn it into an exclusive Hollywood VIP event, and every time her requests are denied, the intrigue only grows stronger. fueling speculation about what she might be fighting so hard to keep hidden, so much so that fans are left stunned by the thought that their beloved star may not be the smiling, flawless, humble figure she has long been marketed as, but someone with cracks in her story that no amount of PR polish can mend. And the deeper this legal saga digs, the more tangled it becomes, with observers pointing out that while many high-profile disputes fizzle into quiet settlements or get swept away by non-disclosure agreements and hush money, that outcome seems increasingly unlikely here, because Blake's legal team reportedly tried to have the judge dismiss the case outright as baseless only for the court to hold its ground, signaling that in an era where judges demand hard evidence to toss out lawsuits, celebrity charm and star power carry no weight, leaving Lively vulnerable in ways she may have never imagined. Because this is not some fleeting gossip item about who she's dating or what project she's filming next, but a legal battle that is gathering momentum with every failed attempt to bury it, a storm that both the public and media are tracking with obsessive attention. And it leaves us with a burning question. Why would someone as seemingly untouchable and flawless as Blake Lively fight with such desperation to erase this case from the headlines? Is it pride driving her? Or is she terrified that if this battle makes it into a courtroom, too many secrets, dark, career-threatening, and impossible to spin, will finally come tumbling out for the world to see?
All right, you guys, it is Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni Day. Finally, to all the women out there that are watching, no matter what you do in life, you never, ever, ever go full Amber Heard. So in Justin Baldoni's lawsuit, he accuses Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively of colluding with.
The judge's refusal to back down has turned what should have been a simple civil case into a pressure cooker of speculation, and the more Blake Lively tries to extinguish the flames, the more it looks like a raging inferno to everyone else. But hang on, that's not even the biggest twist yet, because few words send a shiver down a celebrity's spine faster than deposition. The ultimate truth hunt in a civil case where lawyers fire off relentless, pointed questions under oath, with no red carpets. No glossy magazine interviews, no scripted soundbites, and definitely no second chances, meaning that every pause, every inconsistency, every half-truth could be twisted and used against you in court, a far cry from the tightly controlled interviews that stars like Lively are used to acing. And if the rumors swirling around Hollywood are to be believed, she is going to extreme lengths to dodge a face-off with Brian Fredman, the hard-charging attorney representing Justin Baldoni, a man infamous for his dramatic flair who once even threatened to sue her into oblivion, a threat bold enough to make even the most composed actor break a sweat. Because while personal tension may make things uncomfortable, it's never a legally valid reason to avoid a deposition, and Lively's repeated attempts to delay or block this proceeding are doing nothing but adding fuel to the gossip fire, raising the unavoidable question of what's really going on here. What could possibly be lurking in those shadows that she is so desperate to keep hidden, with fans speculating wildly about covert Hollywood power plays, secret contractual disputes, or some buried scandal, while critics counter that the harder she fights to avoid tough questions, the more guilty it makes her look, as if she's hiding something monumental. Because the law does not grant exceptions lightly when it comes to depositions unless there's an extraordinary circumstance. And with each motion her team files, Fredman only grows more determined to grill her under oath, where one wrong move could blow the entire case wide open and expose everything she's tried so desperately to keep out of the public eye. Yet depositions are only one piece of this explosive puzzle, because few stars know how to work the spotlight like Blake Lively, with her flawless fashion sense, her carefully curated image, and her lucrative stream of endorsements that have made her practically a walking advertisement for perfection, her brand shimmering as brightly as the diamonds she wears. But when it comes to legal battles, no amount of image management or crisis PR can save you, because courtrooms are not about glamour but about facts, hard evidence, sworn testimony, and documents that don't lie, meaning even the most polished publicity campaign can't hide what's lurking in those files if the truth is buried there. And behind the scenes, her team of top-tier agencies and crisis managers is almost certainly scrambling to spin the narrative before the public gets its hands on court records. But this is no ordinary scandal, no canceled talk show or petty social media feud that can be swept under the rug. This is a full-scale legal showdown where every motion, every filing, Every hearing becomes a matter of public record, making it impossible to control the flow of information. And now fans are waking up to a startling reality. What if the star they've adored isn't the flawless, smiling, humble icon she's been marketed as? What if that picture-perfect persona is nothing more than a meticulously engineered marketing construct? Because can anyone really sustain such an untouchable image without stumbling, without cracks eventually showing? And if Lively loses her grip on this saga, the fallout could be catastrophic. Not just destroying her reputation, but shaking the foundation that her carefully cultivated image was built on, a collapse that would devastate fans who built her up as untouchable. But she's not the only powerful player in this storm, because across from her sits Brian Fredman, a lawyer impossible to ignore, who one minute is a razor-tongued legal powerhouse calling out alleged wrongdoing, and the next a showman delivering dramatic threats to sue A-listers into the ground. A polarizing figure who to some is an opportunist leveraging high-profile cases to build his brand, and to others simply a relentless advocate doing whatever it takes to protect his clients' interests. But for Lively, he represents the single greatest threat to her future, and honestly, who could blame her for being wary? Because his direct, no-nonsense approach doesn't just make things uncomfortable, it could shatter her entire narrative. And rumor has it he is sitting on evidence capable of ripping apart the image she has curated for years. Receipts, documents, testimony, whatever it may be, that could permanently alter the way the public sees her. No wonder she is fighting tooth and nail to keep him from leading her deposition, because Fredman is more than just a lawyer here. He is the looming specter of truth she cannot control, and speculation is running rampant about what exactly makes him so dangerous, with some whispering that he has mountains of receipts revealing behind-the-scenes scheming, while others believe he is simply playing the intimidation game, trying to break her before the showdown even begins. But whatever the truth, the drama is escalating to epic proportions, a saga that fans, critics, and even casual observers can't help but follow breathlessly, all waiting to see if Fredman will be the one to finally pierce Lively's polished veneer. And the stakes stretch far beyond the courtroom, because in this digital era, every rumor, every leak, every whisper spreads like wildfire across social media, fueling relentless chatter, dividing the internet into factions, with Team Blake portraying her as a victim of ruthless legal bullying, a beloved actress standing firm against unfair intimidation, while Team Fredman casts her as a star desperate to protect secrets that could unravel everything. And in the end, what began as a legal dispute has metastasized into a media spectacle of staggering proportions, one that shows no sign of slowing down.
I know for a fact that the mainstream media will lie and they will smear on behalf of their power, the fact that she is a modern feminist. And so she has to create struggle where there just isn't any. Okay.
On the flip side, Team Baldoni argues that Lively's recent moves reveal a darker, more controlling side of her carefully crafted persona, while Fredman is cast as the hero, the truth seeker determined to uncover what's really happening behind the glossy Hollywood curtain. And meanwhile, the press is having a field day, amplifying every motion, every statement, every rumor, transforming them into headlines, hashtags, and fiery debates across YouTube and TikTok, where the more outrageous the claim, the more clicks and views it garners, fueling the buzz into a frenzy, because public curiosity is not just insatiable but ravenous, a beast constantly hungering for more scandal, more drama, more spectacle. And so the burning question emerges: is the Blake Lively we know simply a carefully curated projection? Reality so meticulously edited and polished that the flaws have been erased, the edges softened, the mistakes buried, because in Hollywood mistakes are not just personal slip-ups but career landmines where one wrong move can undo years of work, while at the same time another star, equally ambitious, can rise up from the ashes of someone else's downfall. And the cycle continues in brutal fashion, as one scandal capable of damaging a reputation can simultaneously propel another figure into the spotlight, reminding everyone that in this world where image is everything, the stakes are impossibly high. Because when you lose the public's favor, it is not a gentle decline but a financial catastrophe, a hemorrhage no publicist or PR team can possibly fix, which is precisely why the tension in this battle feels so enormous, so suffocating, for it is not just the reputation of one actress at risk, but the livelihoods of those connected to her, the future contracts hanging in the balance, and perhaps the very trajectory of multiple careers entangled in this escalating saga. And so, if you've wondered why no one can look away, why the fascination continues to grow, the reason is simple. Lively's career, her income, her future are directly tied to the outcome, because this is not just a dry legal matter. It is everything on the line, and what comes next threatens to be even bigger, because if this case lands in a courtroom, it will instantly transform into the hottest spectacle, a trial dissected by journalists, magnified by bloggers, debated endlessly by fans, where every gesture will be scrutinized, every word pulled apart, and the public will cling to each detail like spectators at a slow motion train wreck, unable to turn away, desperate to see the next chapter of an unfolding drama that promises to grow darker and more complex. And it won't stop with her, because the ripple effect could easily drag in more names, co-stars, directors, producers, all of whom might be subpoenaed or compelled to testify, and each new involvement would add fuel to the fire, expanding the spectacle until the flames consume not just one actress, but a broader swath of Hollywood. And at the core of this mess lies a deeper issue, one that transcends Lively's polished public image or Baldoni's reputation, namely the collision between legal realities and Hollywood illusions, and the unanswerable question of how much control a celebrity can truly maintain over their narrative in an environment where everyone is selling an image, where truth and fiction blend seamlessly, and where the facade inevitably begins to crack. Because when the truth starts breaking through the perfection, how does one respond? And so the central drama becomes not whether Lively can outmaneuver Baldoni and Fredman, but whether she can preserve her picture-perfect persona once the courtroom lights expose everything she's tried to keep hidden. Because if there is truly a bombshell waiting beneath the surface, it could detonate with enough force to alter our perception of her permanently, rewriting her story in ways no amount of PR could ever repair, and serve as a chilling reminder to every star that no narrative, no matter how carefully manufactured, can remain unchallenged forever. And so the suspense grows unbearable as we wait to see if Lively's star power will be enough to shield her from the storm, or if the legal system will finally force a reckoning she cannot escape. And until then, all we can do is speculate, watch the spectacle intensify, and brace ourselves for the explosion when it all unravels. Because the end of this saga may not be a picture-perfect Hollywood conclusion, but rather the dramatic implosion of a beloved figure's public image, proof that in the end, even the brightest stars can burn out under the unforgiving spotlight of truth.